Welcome to Jubilation. I'm Jim Hennington, the CEO and Senior Actuary. Today's video is about how much do you need to retire? And let's calculate your answer. It's a simple question really. How much super do you need to retire? And it's an important question as you need to know this to make decisions about when you could retire and, once you do, what budget you can live on, without being worried you could run out of super down the track. The reason there is no right answer for how much to retire is because no two people are the same. It's a bit like asking lots of different people how much they need to pay for their next holiday. It depends. It depends on how long their holiday is going to last. It also depends on how much that holiday will cost per day or per night. The calculations for retirement start along a similar line, but it's harder than just working out a holiday budget. Retirement calculations depend on how long you think your retirement will need to last, whether you're planning as a couple or single, what type of assets you have, and whether you might get some income from the age pension. These are just a few of the considerations. Because it's hard, people often mention rules of thumb, but these are really just finger-in-the-air guesses. You need $1 million. That's one. And then there's the Don Bradman retirement rule. This one sees you having $250,000 in super, but then requires you to work part-time for the rest of your life. Another one is to spend your super and just live on the age pension. The Association of Superannuation Funds Australia has a bizarre calculation that comes up with $690,000 for a couple and $595,000 for a single person to retire. Another rule of thumb is to just live on your investment income and never spend any of your capital. Overseas, they often talk about the 4% rule. So that's where you take 4% of your total assets when you retire, and you set that as a budget, an annual budget, for the rest of your retirement. If you go to Google and type in this question, you're likely to get things like, come and use our Mickey Mouse online calculator, or sign up to our $8,000 a year advice package. Confused? That's okay. In this video, we'll help you tune out the noise and understand how to configure your own retirement numbers. Let's take a look at what you need to think about. The horizontal axis in this chart shows your age over the course of your life. While you're working, you earn a salary. That's the orange bars in the chart on the screen. Each month, if you spend everything in your account, that's okay, because next month your bank balance will be topped up again by your employer paying your salary. But when you retire, that salary stops. So what happens after that? In Australia, all employers are required to pay superannuation contributions for you. That means some of your pay is put into a fund that builds up and becomes available in retirement. That's the green bars in the chart. Instead of receiving that extra salary, you get a bit less paid into your bank account each month during your working years. That money builds up in your super fund. And when you get to retirement, there are lots of options for how to use this money. The green bars here assume you draw it out evenly up to age 100, but we'll talk more about that later. If you save more money while you're working, then you'll have more assets in retirement to provide a higher income. But there can come a point where you save more than you actually need to maintain your lifestyle in retirement. In this example, you're saving so much of your salary that your retirement pot is able to produce more income than you ever had while you were working. So you don't want to overdo it. Ideally, you want a balance. In the old days, retirement systems globally used to target 2/3 or 3/4 of your salary as a retirement income. But recent research indicates retirees might not need quite this much. After all, the mortgage is hopefully paid off, the kids have flown the nest, and you no longer need to travel to the office each day. You're also likely to be paying less income tax. One guideline for how much a comfortable retirement costs is based on what other retirees tend to spend. The researchers found It costs about $70,000 per year for current retired couples to enjoy a comfortable living standard. So that includes food, bills, transport, clothes, outing and a holiday. But that's an Australian-wide average. The costs seem to get much higher for those who live in affluent city suburbs. Another guideline might be to aim to replace, say, half your salary in retirement. So if your household salary just before you retired was $200,000 per annum, then you might aim to have $100,000 per year as a budget for your retirement living standard. Another good approach is to print or analyse your bank statements from the past few months. It's a really good exercise to do this now and again. Then consider what items are essential and will keep going in retirement, and what items will stop once you've retired. This really helps you personalise what you need. Then you can add on a budget for one-offs like home and car maintenance and holidays. Feel free to email us if you'd like a template of the expense categories to consider. In Australia, we have a government pension called the age pension. For those with lower levels of their own savings, this pays a modest level of income in retirement. However, it's much lower than the average salary for workers. Many people need a higher income to maintain their living standards after the salary stops. For people who have a lot of assets, and I mean like $1 million or more for a couple who have a home as well, the age pension rules mean they aren't eligible for this income. For those in between, you'll get a reduced age pension depending on your exact levels of wealth. Basically, the more assets you have, the less you get from the age pension. This can make retirement planning pretty hard. You might start retirement with only a small age pension or none, but then as you spend your super, your assets reduce and you can become eligible for an age pension down the track. Now that can be valuable, but you want to even things out. If you know that's likely to happen to you, then you can actually spend more in the earlier years of retirement, knowing that you'll have extra income from the age pension down the track. The age pension can benefit even quite wealthy retirees. It's only people who know they'll always have around $1 million plus for their whole life who'll get nothing from the age pension. So getting this right is valuable. It means everyone knows how much they'll need to save, what they can achieve from it, and how to know what they'll get from the age pension. Getting the numbers right and carefully designing your income plan is an expert skill. That's why Jubilation exists. We help you do the numbers, aligned with your expectations and your unique situation. In reality, you'll probably have a mix of assets that will be available in retirement. Superannuation is not the only one. For example, most people will have some cash savings, maybe some term deposits, and sometimes some shares on the stock market. Some people have an investment property, maybe even with a mortgage against it. Others have their own business. While you're working, you're hopefully adding to your retirement assets. The blue box in this diagram indicates your overall retirement pot. In the top left, we have your superannuation contributions and any other savings you make from salary to save for retirement while working. You'll also earn investment returns on your assets, although sometimes markets can fall and values go down temporarily. You'll also have some fees coming out of your assets, and you'll likely be paying some tax on the investment returns. But overall, while you're working, you'll be building up a growing pot of assets that will be at your disposal once you get to retirement and need to replace your salary. Once you stop working and saving, your retirement assets will still be there for you. They'll continue earning investment gains. Unfortunately, there'll still be fees, but the good news is tax is generally much lower for retirees, but still a consideration. The big difference in retirement is you'll need these assets to pay the bills instead of just relying on money coming in from an employer. You'll need those assets to provide each month so that you can pay the bills and spend on other expenses like home maintenance, holidays, or a new car. To make the most of your retirement assets, you'll gradually spend down the pot over time, while taking great care to make sure it'll always last the distance. Getting all this right means making careful assumptions for future investment returns, fees and taxes. It also means projecting how long your retirement assets will need to last and how to draw it down safely. It also involves allowing for any age pension you'll get along the way that will help you. If you get things wrong, you'll either run out of savings sooner than you needed to, or you'll waste the benefit of all that hard work saving the nest egg in the first place. If you don't make the most of your money, then you're working harder and living more frugally than you needed to. And that's a bit inefficient and maybe silly. So, to wrap up, there are 4 main steps to calculate how much you need to retire. First is to get some perspective on what your lifestyle will cost in retirement. Is it 50% of your salary? Or is it $70,000 per year? Or will you create a detailed breakdown for yourself? Step 2 is to ask Jubilation for a detailed asset and cash flow projection based on your unique circumstances and plans. We'll help you determine whether you're on track to generate income that's enough for your needs. If you are, then we'll help you optimize your decisions and enjoy your best life with confidence. And if you're not on track, we can help you identify where the problems are and what needs to be done. At the end of the day, the amount you need to retire depends on what sort of retirement you want and when you need it to start. In our next tutorial, we'll talk about risk and uncertainty and how to deal with these in a world with many moving parts. But don't worry, our team is here to help you. To get you started, Jubilation offer a free trial showing you how we can support your retirement planning goals. Our contact details are in the description below, or reply to any of our emails. We'd love to help you.